Nothing keeps me awake at night, thank God. I'm blessed like that, I'm very lucky like that, but I'm sure it'll get worse as we get closer to the event. Anything can go wrong. You set yourself spectacular ideas to try and execute live, and you will always worry that something technical will go wrong. The biggest worry we have, I think, is weather, and it's always, but that's being British. We're going to have some rain in the stadium, whether it rains or not, because we thought we can't let people leave the opening ceremony without having a little bit of rain, even if it's the most beautiful day on earth, which we hope it will be. So weather's the biggest issue, because the stage becomes slippy and that affects the performers and things like that. But then there's all technical worries. But we've got a great team of people working on it, trying to anticipate as much as possible. It's a rather beautiful sequence, rather lovely and charming. And it does bring together two of the things that we've announced today, which is the children who will be taking part in the open ceremony, drawn from the 6 host boroughs. And we've been round auditioning in the schools, which has been fantastic, and nurses and staff from the NHS, and we'll be bringing those two elements together in a lovely routine. I can't tell you exactly what the routine is yet, but it's a lovely story actually. And that's the other thing, I didn't mention this morning, is we've tried to put some narrative in the evening, some storytelling, and that again, a bit like humour. It's quite difficult in a stadium. They tend to be narrative-free zones. They tend to be just spectacles. You look at spectacles. The commentator's giving you the narrative on the telly, but we wanted narratives to be within the stadium themselves, little stories told, because we want to do, the other thing we want to do is try and generate an emotion. And again, you don't really get that in stadium shows, because they're usually too big. To get that intimacy of human beings talking to each other, and through stories you generate emotion. So it's a bit of wit and a bit of emotion really in those stories. We're trying to make sure we don't do lowest common denominator stuff, you know, where you kind of reduce everything because you're worried about such a body won't get that or such a body won't get that. So we will be using language, even though you're encouraged not to in these shows, because language is a very huge part of our culture, obviously in terms of our writers, Shakespeare, who we talked about earlier, and so we will be using some language. So we won't be reducing everything to make it appeal to everyone. You know, this will be about us, and you know, if some people don't get it, that's fine. You know, that's what we're like.
That's on the BBC HD channel and has just got underway. There's also the option of having no commentary on all platforms except free review.
Also, for viewers who are blind or partially sighted, we are offering an audio description commentary via the red button. For technical reasons, we can only offer the sound on Freeview, but it will also be available on 5 Live Olympics Extra.
Finally, a warning that the ceremony will include flashing images, strobing, lighting effects and fireworks. You wouldn't expect anything else. It's going to be special. Our commentators for the opening ceremony of London 2012 are Trevor Nelson, Hazel Irvine and Hugh Edwards.
80 young musicians joining members of the London Symphony Orchestra to perform Nimrod by Edward Elgar. Starting with the celebration of Britain's maritime tradition and the special qualities of an island race. The world is waiting to see what London has to offer. The journey is almost complete. The moment has arrived. And the opening ceremony will take us through the great revolutions in British society.
is quality 4th. Mainly easterly or northeasterly 4, occasionally 5. Fog patches, moderate, occasionally very poor. Tyne, Dogger, Fisher, German Bight, Humber, Thames, Dover. North or northeast 4 or 5, occasionally 6. Fog patches, moderate, occasionally very poor. White, poor.
seats over your heads. So, seating bank 141. Go! Everyone, turn your eyes over there. There it goes. You see that clock? Pass it along, pass it along. Please don't hold on to it.
And be sure, while you're under there for 30 seconds. So feel free to have fun under there. But keep it clean. Have fun. Not that kind of fun, sir. Alright. While you're under there, have fun with that. You can bowl, you can
Others would come from other lands, in particular from the West Indies. What was struck in the foundry was of the highest quality. And here in London in 2012, we welcome the Olympic rings to Stratford in the East End. And the 5 continents of the world are joined above the Olympic stadium. How happy and glorious.
Welcome to the throne room. It was designed by John Nash. You'll notice again the favourite colours of gold, white and green, done in the Rococo style, which Queen Victoria, of course, sold to the corporation of Brighton and moved a lot of the fittings here.
James Bond. Daniel Craig.
Evening, sir.
007.
Evening.
Salute from the corners.
Mr. Bond, Your Majesty.
Good evening, Mr. Bond.
Good evening, Your Majesty.
Helicopter awaits. Music from the Dam Busters by Eric Coates. Several examples of English humour during the course of this show. Well, they're heading east. Gasp all the way around the stadium. James Bond epic starring Daniel Craig and Her Majesty the Queen.
Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez vous lever pour Sa Majesté la Reine et Son Altesse Royale le Duc d'Édimbourg, accompagné par le président du Comité international olympique, Jacques Rogge.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for Her Majesty the Queen and His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh, accompanied by the President of the International Olympic Committee, Jacques Rogge.
Never can Her Majesty have been introduced to her public in a manner like that. And the crowd have loved it. Every man and woman on his feet to again celebrate Her Majesty in her Diamond Jubilee year.
snuggest. It's not large and sprawly, you know, with boring distances between one adventure and the next. It's nicely crammed. When you play at it by day, with the table and chairs, it's not a bit frightening. But in the 2 minutes before you go to sleep, it is real.
and gentlemen, please welcome Sir Simon Rattle. Tonight, as a tribute to the British film industry, he is conducting the London Symphony Orchestra in a performance of Chariots of Fire.
trouble. They kept telling me that I was turning my microphone off, but I wasn't. that is English humour at its best. Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean, famous surely all around the world, and I hope you laughed. We had a full-time job.
Mesdames et
Holding on to
messieurs,
our-
ladies and gentlemen,
feelings.
Mr. Rowan Atkinson.
messieurs, c'est Tim Berners-Lee, inventeur du World Wide Web.
And now Sudan, large North African nation whose ongoing travails are well known. Large country, small delegation, 6 athletes. Here's Yemen. The smiles on the faces of these Olympians are so genuine. They are all each in their own way. In the center of the arena, the athletes from other countries of the world. There's the Queen, gold medals in cycling in Beijing, and thus became Sir Chris Hoy. Along with staging an Olympics was too much for the Italian government, so London stepped in. Then in 1948, there had been no Olympics since 1936, suspended in 40 and 44 because of World War II. And with rationing still in effect and the city still scarred from a blitz, London stepped up yet again and in effect relaunched the Olympics in 1948. If you look at the sky here for a second, here's a piece of trivia. I'm not sure who counted this. Look at Prince Harry in the box. 7 billion pieces of paper have just been released into the air. This is a great cover of this song. Faithful cover by the Arctic Monkeys, an English band from Sheffield.
And the president of the International Olympic Committee, Jacques Robb.
Your Majesty, Your Majesties, Your Royal Highnesses, President Rogg, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. To everyone in this stadium attending our opening ceremony, to every athlete waiting, ready, prepared to take part in these games, to everyone in every city and village in the world watching as we begin, welcome to London. Welcome to the 2012 Olympic Games. Welcome from every one of us. I have never been so proud to be British and to be a part of the Olympic movement. As I am on this day, at this moment. The Olympics brings together the people of the world in harmony and friendship and peace to celebrate what is best about mankind. All my life I have loved sport. You have to love sport to compete at it. There is a truth to sport, a purity, a drama, an intensity a spirit that makes it irresistible to take part in and irresistible to watch. London 2012 seeks to capture all of this. London 2012 will inspire a generation. In every Olympic sport, there is all that matters in life. Humans stretched to the limit of their abilities, inspired by what they can achieve, driven by their talent to work harder than they can believe possible, living for the moment, but making an indelible mark upon history. To the athletes gathered here on the eve of this great endeavour, I say that to you is given something precious and irreplaceable. To run faster, to jump higher, to be stronger. To my fellow countrymen, I say thank you. Thank you for making all this possible. And one day we will tell our children and our grandchildren that when our time came, we did it right. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce the President of the International Olympic Committee, Dr. Jacques Rogge.
Your Majesty, Your Majesties, Your Royal Highnesses, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in just a few moments, the Olympic Games will officially return to London for the third time, setting an unmatched record for hosting the Games that spans more than a century. Thank you, London, for welcoming the world to this diverse, vibrant, cosmopolitan city yet again. It has taken a lot of hard work by many people to get us to this point. I want to thank the entire team at the London Organising Committee, superbly led by Lord Coe, for their excellent and hard work. I also want to thank all the public authorities who have helped ensure that these games will leave a lasting positive legacy long after the closing ceremony. And of course, we are all grateful to the thousands of dedicated volunteers who are being so generous
volunteers? Who volunteered? Coming for 3 to 4 hours? Alright. Why are they getting free?
who are being so generous with their time, their energy, and their welcoming smiles. I now have the honor to ask Her Majesty the Queen to open the Games of the 30th Olympiad. Thank you.
I declare open the Games of London, celebrating the 30th Olympiad of the modern era.
For you, girl.
The flag, by the way, will fly here at the Olympic Stadium until the closing ceremony. And will be lowered again until Sochi in 2014. And now the flag is going to be passed to Muhammad Ali, assisted by his wife, Lonnie. You all remember remember the moment in 1996, one of the most moving in Olympic history, when he lit the cauldron in Atlanta. Even then, you could see the effects of Parkinson's syndrome. Now at age 70, his body further ravaged, but still one of the most recognizable figures in the entire world. Not only for what he did in the boxing ring, but for what he did outside of the ring as well. So the flag symbolically passes by Muhammad Ali.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the Olympic anthem.
The Olympic anthem first performed at the inaugural 1896 Olympics in Athens.
Star, who was born here in the East End, was so instrumental in getting these games to London.
Tremendous speculation in the weeks leading up to these games. Who will be the final torchbearer? That's always part of each Olympic opening ceremony, a major part. And in this case, people are going to be surprised by the fashion in which the Brits have decided to finally light the cauldron. There's going to be a handoff here from David Beckham, who was never an Olympic athlete.
That's Jade Bailey, by the way, a teenage soccer player, represented England at the women's under-17 level when she was just 14 years old.
Now it's in the hands of Stephen Redgrave, who most certainly was an Olympic athlete. Won gold in 5 consecutive Olympics in rowing. Had the honor of carrying Great Britain's flag at an opening ceremony twice. Now will carry the torch into his home Olympics.
Don't go out. Right here.
12,800 miles, the Olympic torch is about to enter the stadium. Witnessed by an honour guard of 500 of the men and women who built the Olympic Park.
So here is Sir Steve Redgrave carrying the torch that he received from David Beckham off the water just a second ago into the Olympic Park. And as you just heard, through an honour guard of some 500 construction workers who helped to build the Olympic Park here in this once blighted section of London known as East London.
So the torch just about to complete its journey of nearly 13,000 miles. Back in May, it was lit in Olympia, Greece, according to tradition, and then traveled a circuitous path on its way to London. The music here for the final torch run and torch lighting is an original composition called Caliban's Dream. It's a callback to the opening lines of the ceremony from Shakespeare's The Tempest.
And this part might need a little explaining here, Bob. The people with the torch now are young athletes from Great Britain between the ages of 16 and 19. They're all involved in sports, sailing, track, and field, and rowing. And this is that whole idea of the next generation of potential Olympians, inspiring a new generation.
And soon they'll be joined by their sponsors, 7 British Olympic heroes, including Dame Kelly Holmes, who won 2 gold medals in the 800 meters and 1500 in Athens. Dame Mary Peters, who won gold in the pentathlon in 72. Daley Thompson, back-to-back decathlon golds in 80 and 84. And again, Sir Stephen Redgrave, the rower who won gold in 5 consecutive games. The generations linked here tonight. The idea is that perhaps a few of these young athletes might find themselves in Rio by 2016.
the stadium tonight 260 of Britain's greatest Olympians, medal winners in Summer and Winter Olympics. They'll be a part of the cauldron lighting as well.
London 2012, young ambassador Jordan.
So the names were tossed out. Daley Thompson, Roger Bannister, first to break the 4-minute barrier. Sir Stephen Redgrave, maybe a current Olympian like Jessica Ennis, so popular here. And the answer is going to be none of the above.
Young runner Katie Kerr is nominated by Dame Mary Peters.
Le jeune lanceur de javelot Aidan Reynolds est nommé par Lynn Davies, CBE.
Young javelin rower Aidan Reynolds is nominated by Lynn Davis, CBE.
La jeune coureuse Desiree Henry est nommée par Daley Thompson.
Here the young athletes embracing their sponsors. Obviously they've been given the chance of a lifetime. What they do from here on out is uncertain, but they'll never forget this moment. There are some of the great Olympians from past years,
including winter as well as summer Olympians who competed for Great Britain.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing Britain's Olympians, 260 of Britain's gold, silver and bronze medalists for Summer and Winter Olympic Games since 1948.
So much is made about the creative part of the Olympic opening ceremony, different in every country, of course, in the Parade of Nations. For my money, this is the most moving aspect of an opening ceremony. It's so steeped in history and tradition, and I think incredibly moving to watch. These young athletes will move through the center of the stadium, passing through the heart of the athletes gathered from all 204 nations. Copper leaves we talked about before that were brought in with each delegation and were placed at the center of the stadium. Now, in that array, they'll play a prominent role here.
Each of the 7 igniting a single flame within one of the copper petals. And that will shortly trigger the ignition of more than 200 of them.
In cities in the past, the Olympic cauldron has been placed high atop a stadium so that it was visible in the surrounding area. And unless something dramatic happens, and this does a lot of rising, this will be near the floor of the stadium. Those 200 copper leaves now form the Olympic cauldron. tears in the eyes of some of the athletes. Does wow suffice? Well done.